Everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review, and today's review is in association with MarvelousNews.com, your #1 news source for everything Marvel. And for today's review, we're going to take a look at the new Marvel Legends Infinite Series Avengers Wave 2 Avengers Age of Ultron Iron Man Mark 43 figure. This figure comes packaged in the same style of packaging we've seen with the other Avengers Legends for both Wave 1 and 2. You've got the Build-A-Figure Thanos logo up at the top, and then because this is a movie figure, we have the Avengers Age of Ultron logo as opposed to just the regular Marvel comic logo. The figure is clearly displayed in the packaging along with the accessories, and then we have the Marvel Legends Infinite Series logo down below and the name Iron Man Mark 43 next to the Avengers Initiative little logo down at the bottom. The packaging itself is in that same kind of red and black coloring that we've seen with the other Avengers figure. Then on the back of the packaging we have a look at the figure standing there. We have the Avengers Age of Ultron logo and the Marvel Infinite Series logo up at the top. A little brief bio for Iron Man, and then down below a look at the other figures in the wave. Okay, so let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figure outside of the packaging with the accessories. So real quick, he comes with Thanos' right leg. We'll look in more detail at the Thanos figure when we get all the pieces together and put the figure together in its own review. But he does, this Iron Man figure does come with Thanos' right leg. So this is going to be a pretty quick review because this figure is the exact duplicate of the Mark 43, only repainted with some more red in it, basically, is the difference. But sculpting wise, it is exactly the same as this figure that Hasbro did in their Iron Man Legends wave for the Mark 42. Now, I guess it's not really that big a deal because it seems like that's pretty much what they did in the movie, is they just took that Mark 42 armor that we saw in Iron Man 3 and repainted it with more red in it for the Avengers Age of Ultron. But if you own this figure, this Mark 42 figure, then you know exactly what you're getting with this Mark 43. You know, with the Captain America, the Age of Ultron Captain America figure that we looked at the other day, you know, I said that this figure was basically the same figure as the Winter Soldier figure, and for the most part it is. But I guess I should be clear that there were some minor changes made between these two figures with the sculpting on the upper torso near the neck, with the collar and everything. There is a little bit of difference there. It's still basically the same mold, and everything else is pretty much the same, just repainted. But there are some minor differences between these two figures. However, with these two figures, it is the exact same mold, and it's just a repainted figure. So I just want to be clear on that. Now, the one thing that the Mark 43 comes with that we did not get on the Mark 42 is we do get this extra head, which is pretty cool. It's got the face plate lifted up so we can see Tony Stark's head, or face I should say. And you know, it's pretty good looking for Tony Stark. It's a pretty good likeness for Tony Stark. I will say, kind of like with the Captain America figure, that it's a good comic book representation of the character. I'm not so sure it really looks like Robert Downey Jr. It's not as bad as the Captain America one, I guess probably because Robert Downey Jr. looks much more similar to the comic version of Tony Stark than Chris Evans does to the comic version of Steve Rogers. But this looks like a comic rendition of Tony Stark more than actual Robert Downey Jr. It doesn't bother me too much. I like that we get the extra head with the face plate up, but I just wanted to note that it doesn't really look like Robert Downey Jr. The faceplate is not movable. You can't put the faceplate down. In fact, I'd recommend that you be very careful when you're popping the heads and switching it, because it's very easy that you could, you know, push on this faceplate piece too hard and pop it off. It's just glued on there. But basically, you just, you know, pop heads on a ball joint. You just pop it on. Because the ball joint's a hinge joint, it can be a little difficult to get on there, but, and then there you go. Okay, so this figure stands just about 6 3/4 inches tall. You know, again, same size as the Mark 42, which of course makes him taller than the older Iron Man figures that Hasbro made for like the first 2 Iron Man movies. So articulation, again, exactly the same as that Mark 42, but just in case you don't have it or not familiar, we'll go over it real quick. Head's on a ball hinge joint, so he's got good rotation with the head, and he can look up and down with both heads. He's got good rotation and everything. He can get his arm out about that much. He can't really rotate his arm all the way around because of these shoulder pads, and you want to be careful when you're moving the arm around because you could snap these off, as you see with my Mark 42, where that shoulder piece got snapped off. So just use caution when you're moving it. He's got the bicep swivel. He's got a double hinged elbow, so he can bend his elbow good. He's got hinged wrists that swivel. However, you can't really do his wrists upwards because he's got these little pieces that go over his fist that kind of keep him from being able to do his wrist up, but he can do his hands down. So it's kind of annoying. It kind of prevents him from doing good repulsor poses with the one open hand, and he's got the one hand that's open, sculpted open, that you can see the repulsor blast, and then the other one's closed-fisted, again, just like with the Mark 42 figure. He's got the midsection joint, so he's got rotation there. He's got a little bit of crunch, and he can look up. No waist swivel. He can do the splits about that much. He can get his leg forward about that much. He can't really do his leg back too much. He does have really high up thigh swivel right there near the ball joint. Double jointed knees, so he's got good bending at the knees, and then he's got hinges for the feet, but no ankle. Well, yeah, actually I take that back. He does have ankle pivot on this one, so he's got good movement there at the ankle, and then 2 peg holes on the bottom of his feet. Okay, so that's my review. Overall, it's not a terrible figure, but you know, again, if you have that Mark 42, you know exactly what you're getting with this figure. Definitely, probably, if you want to round out your Avengers Age of Ultron Avengers crew, you're going to want to pick this one up, and especially because you're probably going to want that Thanos Build-A-Figure piece. Otherwise, you know, I'm not sure this one's really worth picking up, especially if you had the Mark 42, and then of course there's probably going to be other companies that do more high-end, more detailed Mark 43 armors as well, so you know, that's something to consider. But you know, for 20 bucks plus you get that Thanos Build-A-Figure piece, and I do like the helmet that you get with the flipped up faceplate, so you know, that kind of makes this worth picking up all around. So this wave is probably due to start hitting shelves. The second wave of Avengers Legends is probably supposed to start hitting shelves sometime in March. So, you know, it's not too long before these will start hitting. Of course, you probably haven't even found the first wave yet, so, you know, you've got enough to keep you busy as far as toy hunting goes. We'll be finishing up looking at the final 2 figures in this wave, maybe tomorrow, and then maybe Thanos on Monday. We've got Hellcat and the Age of Ultron Hulk figure to still look at. So I'll try and get to those tomorrow, and then we'll top things off on Monday with the Thanos Build-A-Figure. So that's my review. I hope you like it. There is a detailed gallery of images for this figure on marvelousnews.com if you want to check those out. There's a link in the description below. Please leave a comment. Let us know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. And always, we ask that if you could, please subscribe to the channel. And until next time, I'll catch you later.